Hi, I'm Rockland County Executive Ed Day, and I want to welcome you to the County Executive Forum. This forum is for you to find out what your government is doing in service to you, and today I'm very happy to have with us Dr. Penny Jennings, who is our newly appointed Commissioner of Human Rights. Welcome, Dr. Jennings. It's great to have you here.
Good day. Thank you for having me.
When you first came on, you looked at building relationships. You looked at making bridges work. We have a very diverse community here in Rockland County. I'd like to know, what kind of success have you had so far? Where are we now where we have the divergent population of Rockland? How do you see things shaping up?
Again, when I'm newly appointed, my first 2 weeks in, we had the incident in Florida where, unfortunately, there were hate crimes committed against the LGBT community in the nightclub. In a matter of 24 hours, we pulled together a wonderful vigil, and the turnout was enormous. And it explained and demonstrated, it indicated that the people in Rockland County definitely will not tolerate hate crimes against people of different races, people of different religions, people of different ethnicities, people of different sexual orientations and sexual preferences. The turnout was wonderful. Following that, we had the unfortunate incident where some young people decided that they'd, go and throw fireworks, explosives on the homes of two rabbis in Clarkstown. Again, will not be tolerated. We called for a rally right away when you learned of this incident, and you contacted my office, and you had indicated that, again, we need to send a clear message that this will not be tolerated. This administration will not stand for it at all. And we pulled together a rally, which was wonderful in a matter of 2 days. Again, wonderful turnout. Not only our county residents, we were covered on Channel 4 News was there. The executive director and assistant executive director from the Anti-Defamation League attended, and they are really supportive of us. They have indicated that they want to be a force with us. They want to offer training. So these are things we've done. Also, in this same vein of building these existing bridges that we had already, you had created, before I arrived, a interfaith council.
Yes, exactly.
And that was one of the things I said when I came on board, that I wanted to strengthen existing bridges and build new bridges. So this interfaith council is an absolute marvelous opportunity. So I've met with them. In fact, the Anti-Defamation League came and met with them. We had a wonderful meeting in the conference room in New City in your suite, and everyone on board, the different faith leaders from the Jewish faith, from the Muslim faith, from the Christian faith, we all work together, and we're going to follow that meeting up. And at that meeting, we identified certain things that we wanted to do, not only to talk about the next meeting, but we made significant stride. We identified issues that we're going to target. Our follow-up meeting is next month on November 2nd. We're going to create posters and public service announcements to let people know, not here in Rockland County, not ever.
And you know something, what struck me, a number of things struck me over your baptism of fire, so to say.
Thank you.
Beyond your professionalism and your
Yes.
calm, and your ability to bring things together,
Yes.
which was one of the things that we saw in you when we brought you on board to serve the people of Rockland County.
you.
But some of the things that struck me was the ADL coming up to Rockland County, not just joining with us, but putting the money where their mouth was.
Yes.
A $2,500 reward being offered for the
Yes.
capture or the apprehension of
Yes.
the people involved in this hate crime, and we're calling it a hate crime.
Yes.
It's not legally been designated as such. But based on my background, it was pretty obvious to me. I was a former law enforcement person.
Yes.
That the rabbis' homes are targeted.
Yes.
How rapid people came. I was stunned by the
Yes.
turnout, and so quickly at both the rallies we had. It speaks well of the vast majority of people here in Rockland County,
Yes.
that we are a good people.
Yes.
We shun and we try to push out the haters, and which was the reason why we established that interfaith
Yes.
council. We felt that people of the men of the cloth, women of the cloth,
Yes.
could speak to a larger constituency group. They're tapping into the respect that comes with their position, and it's wonderful to see, the Islamic Center
Yes.
working closely with our Jewish brothers and
Absolutely.
sisters. It's really a wonderful thing to see. I don't want to interrupt because I know you have some plans to
Yes.
foster more unity here in Rockland County. Could you expand upon that a bit?
Absolutely. Also, again, that is going to be a key part, the Interfaith Council. We also, with our office being human rights, of course, we defend all tenets of human rights, including discrimination in housing,
Right.
which is one of the major complaints that we receive in this county with regard to discrimination. People are not rented to based on their gender or ethnicity, or because they're in a familial status that the landlord may not appreciate or support. And we have already completed a public service announcement,
Yes.
a commercial, if you will, and it's going to be broadcast on local stations. It's going to be available on our Facebook, all of our county media outlets.
Right.
And it is a wonderful representation of our intolerance for intolerance.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the only thing that we will not tolerate, intolerance.
I saw the draft of it. It was
Absolutely.
very impressive. It
Yes,
really was.
thank
And
you.
the key here is to break this down
Yes.
to a common denominator, so people get it. They understand what we're speaking about. Nobody wants to be treated
Yes,
differently.
absolutely.
I remember, and again, this is something I think even maybe young people should do as part of their education. I spent some time, the Rockland Independent Living Center did a PSA, and they challenged folks like myself to get in a wheelchair and go into a
Yes.
store and shop. What a remarkable experience, a very humbling experience.
Yes.
It's something, just a matter of 20 minutes just trying to navigate a store. It really is a humbling experience for a
Yes.
person, and it gives you a newfound understanding of what people go through when they have disabilities and the
Yes.
challenge they have. And it also tells you that these folks are very strong people. Because
Absolutely.
the average person, like myself, sitting in a wheelchair for the first time, you feel it's frightening.
As
It
you
really
say,
is.
very humbling.
It
yes,
is, and
absolutely.
you have a newfound appreciation for the inner strength
Yes.
people have when they have these challenges foisted upon them.
Yes.
And this PSA covers a gamut
Yes.
of different challenges that people will have to deal with.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're also looking into offering a day of diversity. We're going to do that in the coming months, where we're going to have representation from all ethnicities come together and bring different things from their ethnic background, maybe like some of their talents, Mexican folk dance, let's say, also African dance, Irish dance, and it's going to be a wonderful day, and we'll have that information available shortly once we secure the venue.
Right. Now, for the people at home, clearly you don't come to this position without a significant background of
Yeah.
and experience. Could you just share some of
Absolutely.
your background? Because people listening to this are going to say, well, gee, she really is an accomplished person.
Thank you.
Wonder where did she come from?
Certainly.
Who was Dr. Penny Jennings?
Certainly. I started my career working with New York City Department of Correction, actually, and I did that for a couple of years and then realized this was more than I had bargained
tough
for.
job.
I was a young woman at the time, very young, and it was really more than I had bargained for. And I decided I better get myself to, get back to school and complete school, so I did that. After that, I ended up working during that time that I was going to school, I worked for New York City Transit Authority. I promoted myself all the way through the ranks and left as a manager. After that, I found that, it was a fulfilling job. It paid very well. And I was raised with the understanding. My grandmother and my mom used to always say, to whom much is given, much is required. That was it's actually a scripture, and it
Yes.
was just always in my household. My sisters and I, grew up that way. And so I understood that here in Rockland County, there was a need for a mentoring program, particularly for underserved young people from the ages of 13 to 21, because I saw that there was a deficit there. And I created a nonprofit organization called ACT Inc., Adults Caring for Teens. It's still operative today. And we've done wonderful programs. The agency was developed when I first started it to pair at-risk youth, or we don't like to use the term at-risk anymore, but young people who had deficits, who were in extreme poverty and lacked certain opportunities, and to pair them with a trained mentor, a mentor that volunteers, and the outcomes were extraordinary. That agency developed into a full-service program, a full-service agency eventually, where we offered group programs, and they still do a lot of work.
And that's where we met, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely, and you were very supportive of that agency, and certainly thank you for that. We had so much support. And after that, there was an opportunity, the nonprofit organization, there's always a nonprofit organization that's designated as the New York State Anti-Poverty Agency. So we needed to open a new one here in Rockland County, and I applied for that position, and I was given that position, and thankfully, thank God, I had the opportunity to open one site in Spring Valley and one site in Haverstraw. And working with people in poverty is something that, again, from my upbringing, to whom much is given, much is required, and seeing the need, it was such a wonderful opportunity. So that program is thriving today, and after that, the rest is history. I'm so grateful and thankful that you've given me the opportunity to be the Human Rights Commissioner now.
Well, I'm glad you're able
Thank
to come
you.
on board with us. And,
Thank
I think
you.
it's important people hear the backgrounds of the people the Day administration is bringing on.
Yes.
We're not hiring political hacks.
Absolutely.
We're bringing people who have substance to where they come from. Dr. Jennings obviously has a doctorate and a long commitment of experience to people of this community.
Yes.
So, it was a great find from my perspective.
Absolutely.
Makes my life a lot easier.
Thank you so much.
I know that you, in your department, you've had some programs there that you've been looking at, and you've taken a real jaundiced eye to what's been going on there
Yes.
to make sure that we have the best outcomes and product that we can deliver to people of Rockland County. What have you enhanced there since you started?
Okay, with regard, my role as Commissioner of Human Rights, your administration had merged human rights with community development.
Exactly.
And many people, or a few people, wondered, well, how could the two work?
Right.
Even when I was offered the position and interviewed for the position, I said, well, gee, I was not certain, and look, I have a doctorate in policy, so I'm very familiar with policies and things like that. So I said, well, how do the two really work well together? Well, sometimes they say I can show you better than I can tell you. After I got into the position, I realized, my goodness, community development does work perfectly with human rights. Reason being, as I said before, many of the complaints that we get in human rights are discrimination in housing. With regard to the community development side, we offer the Housing Choice Program, that's known as Section 8 to most people. We offer programs such as tenant-based rent assistance. We offer programs such as housing rehab, a program that, to answer your question, what am I enhancing? This is a program that was underutilized, grossly underutilized previously. This program is for low-income senior citizens and disabled people who may own a home, are on a fixed income, and fall within a low income.
Right.
Do you know we are able to give them assistance in rehabbing their homes, in bringing their homes up to code?
Well, this is what we're here today. Because
Exactly.
when we looked through the process of how these departments work, when I first came into office, we were amazed at what programs were there that some were underutilized.
Yes.
And, I think people at home right now should be writing this down because
Absolutely.
there's something for everybody there, right? There really is.
Absolutely. So we have seen an influx in applications for senior citizens and disabled people to get their homes brought up to code. I mean, we had an individual whose roof was leaking. She didn't have the money, but learning about this program, because I came in on May 23rd, I think June 23rd, we had an open house,
Right.
but you were
Yes.
there. And many people came in and they received brochures and learned about the many programs. I had the staff create brochures. Let's get the word out. Another program that we've enhanced, we had a program called tenant-based rent assistance.
Right.
Section 8 list has been closed for a long time. However, I found that there was some funds available for tenant-based rent assistance. This was allowed us to assist some people with subsidies for rent. That went right away. We opened that list and it was used right away. Also, first-time home buyer program, wonderful program.
Yes.
Again, design this county. We want to see young people. We want to keep our young population. We don't want people to go to college, become educated, and then move out. You know, we need them to stay here. We want the talent here. The first-time homebuyer program allows us to help them pay their closing costs or down payment, whichever is less. It's a fantastic program. So those are the things I'm enhancing.
Right.
I was able to, when you told me, when I was hired, you told me to look into where we can streamline and save money. We were going to forfeit of $843,000 when I walked in. And then, as under your direction, I did look through every program, and we used that $843,000 for the programs I just discussed.
There was some who didn't
wonderful.
understand
Yes.
why we made this change to have you come on board.
Yes.
Nothing occurs in a vacuum in the administration.
Absolutely.
We saw there was some shortcomings there. We brought in obviously new blood in you, and you know I think the one thing people should take away from all this is basically you, the taxpayer, support government. Every
Yes.
dollar that we spend, they're taxpayer dollars.
Yes.
And the troubling thing I have found is that oftentimes taxpayers don't know what is available for them, and they're paying for it. So when we
Exactly.
have these programs, this is why it's so critical that we have an updated website now.
Yes.
That we're very aggressive in social media. We're getting the information out in all different social media platforms.
Yes.
So people have a better chance of learning what resources are available to them. And again, after all, you know, people expect a lean government. People, you know, don't like paying taxes, but they
Right.
understand taxes are going to support a community. All right?
Absolutely,
The
yes.
key for our administration here is to make sure that the monies that we spend wisely,
Yes.
we spend efficiently, and as a matter of fact, just as an aside, we've been maintaining and improving services. We've had the largest reduction in the budget over the last 2 years. It's been about
Absolutely.
9%
Yes.
and $67 million over the last 2 years, and we still are enhancing what we're doing.
Yes.
It shows you that we can be efficient. The merge that you speak of obviously
Yes.
was one of the earlier efforts we made
Yes.
back in 2014 during my first year in office.
Mm-hmm.
We had a sense it was viable, and I'm going to have to give credit to my deputy county executive,
Yes.
who has a master's in public administration. We all looked at this. He felt this is a natural way to go. We needed someone to come in who identified with the potential, which is what you just jumped right in, even though
Thank
you
you.
had your doubts.
Thank you.
Based upon your background.
Yes.
Once you saw it, it's the old saying, the light bulb goes off,
Absolutely.
and it's amazing what we can have. So what other things that you see? We talk about reorganization.
Yes.
We started that ball rolling, as it were,
Yes.
prior to your being there.
Yes.
Again, we felt that more could be getting done in that area to be more efficient. Tell us a little bit about what you found, where we're going, how do you see things changing for the better?
Sure. You know, I am a fiscally conservative person. You know, I spend my own money very wisely.
As do I. I've been called cheap.
You know, prudent, you know, very smart. I noticed that there were some places that we could streamline in the Office of Community Development, particularly, where I was able to I abolished 3 jobs, which will come with some flack, I'm sure, but I created 4, and it's going to cost the county local share 0.
Right.
However, I created a position for policy compliance, which is very necessary. We are funded through HUD, and the policy compliance level with HUD money is very, very stringent.
Yes.
You know, when I walked in, I saw, you know, some things could be enhanced. We want to strengthen policy compliance. We need to do that to ensure that we would be funded, that we would continue to get these funds to make the people of Rockland County better off. So that position, very necessary. Then I had another position where the responsibilities were duplicated. So I know there's no need for that. I restructured to make the office work more efficiently and more effectively, utilizing the taxpayers' money in the best way possible. I look at the taxpayer dollars exactly like I look at my own checkbook. It is my money, it's your money. We all pay taxes, and we want to do the most with the least possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting, when I first got into office, I was interviewed by a local reporter with LOHUD, and during the interview, my phone went off. And he wrote in his story that he was hoping that the ringtone would give him some insight into where I was coming from. So I got off the phone. I apologized for the phone call. It was a family phone call.
Yes.
I got off the phone, and he says, Mr. County Executive, what kind of ringtone was that? I said, it's a stock ringtone. I'm a cheap person.
Yes.
And you can be frugal and smart.
Yes.
And that's really critical. And what you're doing, Dr. Jennings, you are replicating what we're doing in the larger scale.
Yes.
This year's proposed budget, we've created a number of positions, but we've abolished a number of positions. And
Yes.
it's almost a break-even point.
Yes.
We see opportunity, and for example, we have a senior typist position. Now, I don't know where we have a need for a senior typist anymore. It's just, these are the anachronisms we deal
Yes.
with. And this is what we find, and this is where we try to improve it. So where we're going is what you're doing.
Yes.
You are changing positions. You are getting people in spots that they can serve in today's world.
That's right.
Have knowledge about today's functions in government. You mentioned something that most people probably don't really understand at home, that we're saving money.
Yes.
There's no additional cost.
Yes.
Much of what happens in government is that we have funding streams from the state and from the federal government,
Yes.
particularly the federal government. There are opportunities for certain positions that will not have a local county share. Now, again, your tax dollars are paid regardless. We
Yes.
understand that. But it's a lesser of an impact upon the local taxpayer when the funds are coming from the federal government.
Right, we
because-
don't burden our
Exactly.
local residents.
Exactly. So, one of the things that were done, again, similar to the approach you're taking, is we have our well-respected contract agencies, our not-for-profits, who work with the county
Yes.
to do things that county government cannot provide efficiently. Meals on Wheels, People of People, Martin Luther King Center, Jewish Federation. There are so many organizations out there, and we've brought them. The lion's share of these organizations are now under contract.
Yes.
And this is something the controller looked at. I think I mentioned this a little bit
It's a
earlier.
wonderful thing.
But one of the benefits of this is because they're functioning in certain departments that have reimbursements in the federal government, we've saved $1 million
Yes.
on these contracts of local taxpayer dollars. So $1 million is about a 1% county property
And
tax
this should
increase.
be applauded by everyone. Unfortunately, sometimes, people always try to politicize things, but thankfully, I am able to say the position I hold as Human Rights Commissioner, this is not a politicized position, and we will never allow it to be politicized. And I thank you for your position that you always reinforce to me that, Penny, this is not political,
No.
you're not a politician, and I'm very appreciative of that. We are neutral. We are here to serve all of our Rockland County residents and do so well, efficiently, effectively, and I think we're just moving on with a bang. I told everyone, buckle your seatbelt. We're going to make great change. I'm very enthusiastic, and I believe that change is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, but we look for in our organization, we look for a vibrancy.
Yes.
We want to have people think outside the box, bring new ideas to the table. Can you give me just one thing that you really are looking at right now that just excites you, and maybe something that you see down the road as being a hallmark piece for what you're looking to accomplish right now?
I think I am excited. Rabbi MacDrill wrote a story after we
Paula
had
MacDrill,
Paula
yes.
MacDrill wrote a story, an article, and it was called, I believe, Naive or Optimism.
Yes.
And she adapted the title because during our meeting, my first meeting with the Interfaith Council, I said, I don't know if, many people say I'm naive because I believe that we can change things. I believe that. And her article was so beautifully written. She said, no, it's not naive. Buckle your seatbelts again. we're going to work together. Rockland is going to be unified. We are on the way.
Now,
That's
could you
my
give
message.
us, I'm sorry, could you give us a phone number for
Yes.
all these wonderful programs so people
Absolutely.
can call in and take advantage of it?
845-364-3939. Thank you.
Could you repeat it again?
845-364-3939. We also have a fair housing website. You can fairhousing.rockland.ny.us.
Well, we can get to your department if you are inclined to use the internet.
Yes.
We have rocklandgov.com is our
Absolutely.
website.
Yes.
Rocklandgov, one word, .com. You can navigate that website for a variety of different resources, but you can certainly visit the
Office of Community
Human
Development.
Rights, Community Development, and you can see some of the things that are being done there. Anyway, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
You know, it's interesting. People ask when I hire people, did you know them? Are they from the political party? Are they? I have made it a habit of when I hired Guillermo Rosa, retiring lieutenant colonel.
Yes.
People said, "How long have you known him?" I said, "I met him 3 weeks earlier in November
Right.
after I got elected." They looked at me, and I said, "The man is highly qualified. He's
Yes.
an MPA, just like you. You have a doctorate. You're
Yes.
highly qualified." It makes my life easier as a manager
Thank
because
you.
I'm bringing on smart, dedicated, passionate people such as yourself.
Which is a sign of a great leader.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you for
It
that.
is. It really is.
I thank you for that. But it serves the people well, and that's really what we're really all here for. So with that, again, Dr. Jennings, I want to thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank
and
you
thank
so
you for
much.
all that you're doing for the people of Rockland County. And to all of you out there, I hope that in some way you're seeing some of the differences that maybe you have not seen in the past about how we serve you here in Rockland County. We want to get the word out to you. If you need to get a hold of my office anytime, the number is 638-5122, 638-5122. I want to thank you for sharing your time with us today. Hopefully you've taken away something that's going to be beneficial to you. And certainly go to our website, rocklandgov.com, to get whatever information might be helpful to you in a variety of different areas. With that, I want to thank you for being here. Again, I'm your County Executive, Ed Day. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.